you could be missing out on a significant portion of your potential audience. The problem is that in podcasting, it tends to be an audio format. Yes, we have video, but for the most part, a lot of the podcasts out there are audio only. And this can inadvertently exclude the deaf and hard of hearing community. We've talked previously on the podcast on ways to make your podcast more accessible for those who are blind, but this is an additional element that we as podcasters and content creators really have to consider. By creating a more accessible show, it's not just a good practice, it also can expand our reach and the impact that our content can make on the world. Today, we have something a little different with our guest. The guest name is Michael, and he has created a product that helps and supports those who are part of the deaf community or the hard of hearing community. And his product is innovative and it is incredible. So we're going to be highlighting his product for the first portion of this episode, but make sure that you stay tuned because I want to make sure that as podcasters and as content creators, you're also getting some actionable things that you can be doing to come up alongside Michael's product to support this community. So I'm going to be doing a short training afterwards on how to make our shows more accessible for those who are part of the deaf or hard of hearing community. All right, please join me in welcoming Michael to the podcast. Welcome to Podcasting Unlocked, the show for purpose-driven podcasters. I'm Alicia Galati, founder of Galati Media, and I'm here to share actionable strategies to help you amplify your message and grow your audience. Hello, Michael. I'm so excited to have you on the podcast today. If you could start by telling everyone a bit about who you are and what you do.
Thanks for having me on the show. My name is Michael Leong. I'm the CEO, founder of the Flow Group, and we promote a new, healthy, and affordable way of hearing that no one's ever seen before. And we encourage seniors, people of all ages really, to adapt to new technologies, especially if it's life-changing for them. As we know, sight and hearing is so important. And there's really nothing out there for them to choose, no other options. So this is great. A lot of people have been jumping on this, and it's the fraction of the cost of hearing aids, right? So once everyone hears about the details, they'll be very interested in this and the story too.
So to give us the rundown on why this is something that you wanted to create and why you're maybe passionate about it.
Yeah, so like 10 years ago, I had a retinal detachment, and they told me I had 48 hours to get surgery, emergency surgery, before I go completely blind on one side. So then, of course, had it done, took 4 months of my life, had to sleep facing down with special equipment, couldn't do anything. And then I developed cataracts, so I was 30-something years old, 2 cataract surgeries. And then I started noticing I was like tripping, falling, walking into walls. And, at nighttime, I'd get lost in restaurants and stuff. So thought I was going crazy. I went in and they have something called retinitis pigmentosa. So it's eating away my peripheral and my night vision on one side. So that's why I'm walking into things, I'm leaping off stairs. So I don't have central vision on this one side. Through the years, I've been just kind of I see a lot of seniors there, obviously. And they chit-chat with me. They're like, what are you doing here? Did you get, in an MMA fight? Did you get your eyes knocked out? And I was like, no. It just happened spontaneously. And then they're like, oh, that's terrible. And then just chatting with them. And I didn't know I was going to do this at first, that it was going to cater to seniors. But my family has factories in Asia, and I was just pondering ideas. So then they're like, oh, how about this bone conduction technology, right? And I looked and so many people were doing it. But then I was like, oh, I want to do something different. But I like the technology. I like that it's open ear. Nothing's in your ear. So then I was like, oh, what if like people can use that as a hearing aid too, like an amplification, right? So we added that feature in. They patented it. I trademarked it all across North America and China. Basically, it looks like a headphone, looks like a bone conduction headphone. You can use it for talking on the phone, writing, listen to music, watch TV. So mine can do that. Plus now it aids hearing. So you can use it for social interactions. You can use it for small groups, big groups. You can use it outside. It's very appealing because a lot of people tell me they don't like wearing hearing aids because it's so, they lose so many pairs, cost $8,000. They're just like, when they start trialing it, they're like, this is great. This is a great idea because it's like totally opposite of hearing aids and for a fraction of the cost when they don't have to worry about losing it. And so everything is just it's just in my favor right now. So it's projecting. Everything's it's trending hard right now. So I'm glad.
Yeah, I can imagine. So We're content creators, and I want to talk today about accessibility and why it's so important. We did have the episode on making sure that our content is accessible to those who are blind, whether that looks like describing things like today I'm wearing a white shirt and it's got a Snoopy on it on a motorcycle, right? Like describing what I look like and what I'm wearing to those who maybe can't see us, especially for podcast listeners, right? Because if
Yeah.
they're not watching the video, they might not be able to see us. So things like that. And then even when the content that we put on social media, make sure that we're having the alt information in there, that we have the tags in there, that everything is clear for those who are using those kind of reading devices for themselves. But when it comes to those who are maybe hard of hearing or are deaf, what are some ways that we can make sure that we're making our content more accessible? First thing that kind of comes to mind is like having video, right? where there can be subtitles or make it easy for them.
Yeah, I think my product alone, just helping them able to hear, and it's like a senior friendly device, right? Because when you make it too complicated for them to use, they don't want to use it. Like hearing aids, you got to change batteries. So some of them have it, they don't even want to use it, right? So when I come to the senior events, a lot of them come to watch my event because they want this other option, right? But then I find out they're not even wearing their hearing aids. I'm like, you spend so much money, but you don't want to wear it. So there must be a problem right here, right?
Right.
So then the lack of participation, like a lot of senior homes, they tell me it's lack of participation because seniors don't have hearing aids. They have it, they don't want to wear it. So now they can't hear anything. So now they're just isolated. They feel like shrunken back. They don't want to participate. So then the quality of life goes down, right? So when I come and I have this product that's, that does no damage, direct pressure, open ear, you beware your surroundings, easy to use, comfortable, and now they're actually more eager to come out and join more activities. And they are just eager to learn about new technologies when before they were like, I don't want to like even hear about this. It's too complicated. But ours is so easy where it's just one flick of a button, you put it on and it amplifies everything. And now they're able to hear in small groups where they had issues before, picking up clarity and picking up words, small words, and things get blurred out and stuff. So this corrects a lot of this and extra enhanced clarity in conversations. And there's different modes, indoor, outdoor, because different sounds, right? So it can actually control the environment and it can actually minimize background sounds, which is like the most important thing for them.
Yeah.
Because hearing aids, you hear background sounds.
Mhm.
My first product, you hear background sounds. But my new one, we put a smart chip in it and now it actually minimizes it significantly. So now you can focus onto more in front of you than everything around you, right? Which is,
Yeah.
it drives anyone crazy. So that alone, it can really make them want to participate and be more active in everything and in learning. And then they can hook this up to the TV or like their phone, they can watch and listen more easier with the headphones. So it's not just seniors, right? For me, it's people of all ages. But I just know I want this accessible for people everywhere, low income, people that can't afford expensive hearing products. They can use something like this. Is under $300. That's why we got grants. We got all these different programs trying to get free products for all these people, give it to them for discounted prices. So they have something to use to watch these shows and use these different apps, right? Because it's Bluetooth. So it's able to assist any kind of accessibility type of apps or TV shows can enhance their experience.
Nice. That's really cool. I do not like background noise at all. So usually I have my loop earplugs in when I'm literally walking through the store just because I'm like, I don't want to hear anybody. I'm just trying to
Yeah.
do what I need to do. So I think that's really cool that you're iterating and creating new versions of the product. How can we as creators come alongside your product, right? And come alongside with what you're doing to really enhance the lives of these folks?
Yeah, like they said, all these different apps and new technologies are obviously helping, right? Like I did this TV show called AMI. It's an accessibility TV show, and it's catered to people who are blind and deaf too. They all have different setups and different ways of capturing the attention of people with disabilities.
Michael, your product sounds incredible. And I love that you're able to create something that is extremely affordable for folks. And so if someone is like, actually, I kind of need that, or I know someone who needs this product, where can they find more about this information and maybe get their hands on these awesome things?
So I have a launch for my Flow True Balance 2.0 in September. I got a lot of pre-ordering already because of the smart sound reduction chip that's already implanted. For them, it's such a great feature to not hear background sounds even hearing aids do. So this is
Yeah.
obviously, it's more superior and it's much more affordable. So when that happens, I'm going to have that on for sale as well. But right now it's only my first product. But on my website at theinnerflow.com. So the flow is without the W, so FLO.com. And they can check out the technologies, testimonies, online shopping, warranty, everything's on there. And we do shipments all across the world. I opened up 100 countries recently. I've been doing podcasts in Australia and Germany and stuff. So they're all like, hey, where can we get this? When it does launch in September, they should be able to purchase it online, and fulfillment. And, there's going to be some extra costs for people that are further.
Right.
Our Instagram is the Flow Group. So they can follow us on there on any new events, partnerships, milestones. Like we have a lot of that stuff going on. We've got Dragon's Den coming, I'm auditioning for that next year, right? So yeah, they can purchase through there. And when the second product comes out, it actually caters to the people that are in the deaf community.
Mhm.
And my first product helps people in the blind community, right? So two different communities.
Yeah, that's incredible. I love what you're doing and that you're really trying to create something that is just really making a positive impact on people's lives to allow them to live a better life, to want to live a better life, right? Because I can imagine how isolating that feeling can be, whether you're blind or deaf. So thank you for making a
Mm.
positive impact in the world. And we'll have links for all of your products and all of your things in the show notes and in the YouTube description. For anyone who is doing other things while they're listening to us, we'll have those links so that way they can check out your stuff. Thank you so much, Michael. So, as you heard, Michael's product is really revolutionary in making something that is affordable and helpful for this community. I also want to make sure that we have some actionable things that we can do. Yes, his product can enhance these things as well, so come alongside of this. But as creators, how can we make sure that we are making our content more accessible as well? So, the first thing that you can do is transcripts. Transcripts are so helpful for the hard of hearing and deaf community because they're able to read along with the content without having to actually listen to it. It makes the content more accessible to them. And so there are a few ways that you can ensure that you have this transcript. I record my podcast on Riverside. You can also edit your podcast on Riverside, export the transcript. I edit my podcast on Descript though. And so I'm able to export the transcript that way if I want to. Additionally, I also run all of our finalized episodes through otter.ai. And I've been using their transcription service for years now, probably since 2020 or maybe even 2019. And I really enjoy the ease of using them. And they go to all my meetings and help me with all of that as well. And so it's just a kind of one stop shop for transcripts as well as supporting me on my meetings so I can understand what in the world I said I was going to do. And so that is one that I like to use personally, but any of those are really great ways to have a transcript that's going to help you be able to quickly, without having to maybe pay someone, which of course you have that option as well, but be able to have something that is going to be easily accessible for your listeners. And a lot of these transcriptions are doing a lot better than they did in 2019. All right. Where would you put these transcripts? If you're hosting your podcast through Buzzsprout, once you've uploaded your podcast episode, there is a section on the right where you can add your transcript. You are able to use a lot of the different file options that both Descript, Riverside, and Otter are able to export in. You can also copy and paste. There's lots of different options there as well to be able to embed that there. And the beauty of this is that it stays on Buzzsprout's website. So when your listener goes to listen to your podcast episode on Buzzsprout's website or on your website through Buzzsprout, they'll have the option to just toggle over to the transcript and listen. I have a client that also has an option on their show notes. It says something along the lines of to get the AI transcript, click here. And then we actually export the Otter document as a Word document and then upload it to a Google Drive folder and then copy that link so it's very accessible for people to just grab and read through as they want or need. So there are a lot of different ways to make this transcript available for people. You can also post it on your website. So many different ways to do that. So that is the first one is transcripts. The second way that we can ensure that we are making our content more accessible for the hard of hearing or for the deaf is by having that visual support and context. So when we're creating video clips or we're creating videos for our podcast, ensure that we have accurate subtitles for the content that we're putting out there. I think even this goes beyond, like, yes, the deaf community and the hard of hearing community, this is really important. But additionally, most of our listeners or viewers don't have their volume on their phone all the way up. So if we're posting things on social media, they should have captions so that people don't just scroll past because they see a talking head with no actual words that they're able to read. So make sure that you're doing this. It makes it more accessible and actually will stop people scroll a little bit as well. You can also use the auto generated transcript that YouTube provides when you're uploading your podcast there. I'm not sure if Spotify has this as well for podcasts. I know with music, there's like a transcript there, but I'd actually have to look into the Spotify if you're uploading your video to Spotify as well. So don't quote me on that, and I will have to look into that one. For the context stuff, you want to make sure that you are clearly articulating so that way the AI transcripts can pick up on the words that you're saying, clearly articulating things, not using overly jargoned language when trying to explain something. Get right to the point and be clear and concise where and when you can. That is going to help the transcript be able to pull that information really easily, but then also allows you to get to the point that you're trying to make for that listener as well. If you have any links that you mentioned that are resources or visuals, make sure that you have links to that in your show notes. So that way people can get access to those things if they're not able to hear you talk about it, or additionally be able to see you describing them or see them in the video. So that goes for both the deaf and the blind community. You'll also want to make sure that any text that you have in graphics, etc., is very clear and easy to read. I try not to use script fonts at all when I am creating content for my podcast or clients' podcasts. I know that's like some brands might just have a script font, but we try to make sure that the majority of the content is in a very easy to read font for people who cannot hear you talk about it, but really need to be able to see the content to be able to make the connection of what you're trying to do or talk about or sell. Next, let's talk about some very technical and deliverable ways that we can think about making sure that we're offering something that is accessible. So when it comes to audio quality is not just good for those who like to listen or those who have struggles with certain sounds or words. So make sure that we are minimizing the background noise and have a consistent volume. One way that I like to do this is I use a product and have used it for many, many years called Auphonic, Auphonic, Auphonic. And you get up to 2 hours of free upload per month. And what it does is it removes background noise, it removes reverb. It also has some new features in it where you're able to remove coughs or long pauses or even some of the filler words like It does remove quite a few of the ums. At the beginning of when they came out with that feature, it did take out like momentum and it took out the of that. So just make sure that you're double checking it for those types of things. And so I don't use it for the AI stuff. I don't use it for taking out a lot of things, minus the reverb. That is one that's like really important. Any background fan noise. I'm also using it to equalize the audio. So all of our audio gets run through Auphonic once we're done editing it to ensure that it is high quality and that the sound is consistent throughout. I don't know if you've ever heard a podcast where the guest is really, really quiet or the host is really loud and excited and boisterous. And the difference in that audio is really frustrating and can be really difficult. Or if you just finished listening to one episode and you go on to the next and it's a completely different volume level. Very frustrating. So this allows you to have consistent audio levels, removes a lot of that background noise, which, like Michael said, can be extremely distracting for those who are part of the hard of hearing and deaf community. These tips are not just good for our listeners, they are also good for us. It allows us to improve SEO, it allows us to easily repurpose the content for everyone and create a more inclusive and loyal audience. So, those are just a few of those quick tips that you can do. I'm going to run through them really quick. Again, talking about transcripts, any of those visual aids, making sure that we have captions on our podcast clips, where to put that transcript when we have it done, make sure that we're not using excessive jargon when we're talking about the topics on our show, and finally, making sure that the audio quality is very high quality for our listeners. Here are two things that I want you to do with this episode. One, I want you to pick one accessibility strategy that you are going to implement this week. Once you've implemented it, send me a DM on Instagram, Alicia.Galati. I want to know how it went. You can find a link for my Instagram in the show notes as well. And then I want you to share this episode with another podcaster who cares about inclusivity. That is who this show is for. It's for people who want to make the world a better place, who care about messages that make a difference, and are interested in making sure that they're showing up in a really positive and impactful way in the world with their show. All right. Until next time, happy podcasting.